Hi, I'm Cristina Victoria Villegas de Moreno, but my government name is Christine Villegas. I'm a Christian Latina who has worked in real estate development and commercial real estate for over 20 years, and in politics on both sides of the aisle before that for 15 years. I am super passionate about community, economic development, generational wealth, and I am so excited for this series.
And I'm Lesley Stevenson, a higher education professional in transition, searching for the next chapter in my life. As I navigate my own path, I felt called to take a deeper look at how faith and finances intersect, and that led us to create this podcast. Welcome to our 21-day financial fast, where we embark on a journey to reset our relationship with money rooted in biblical principles.
In each episode, we'll explore how Scripture can guide us toward financial freedom, discipline, and trust in God's provision. Together, we'll reshape our relationship with money, growing as faithful stewards of what God has entrusted to us. All right. Day one of the 21-day fast start is called What is Your Level? Starts out with Scripture. It says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Proverbs 18:21. Broke is a state of mind. First sentence. Boom. That just really had me, because I feel like that's been definitely a theme throughout, I would say throughout my life, but definitely wouldn't describe my childhood as like prosperous, would not to say that. So I felt, coming from a body of my family happens to come from this neighborhood in Orange County called the Colonia Independencia. There's a few neighborhoods like that in the U.S. Where Mexicans were able to own property when they were segregated. And so I think that segregation for us has definitely created a mindset where you're only supposed to be in certain places. You're only supposed to have so much. Don't expect a lot. And I respect humbleness for sure, but I think that there's also a mindset for humble that is like, stay down, don't strive. And there's such a conflict, right, between becoming an American, independence, but also be humble. So I think there's just a struggle there. And frankly, my neighborhood, before 911, you call the cops sometimes, they might come out 3 hours later.
Wow.
I grew up in a part of Orange County where there's a lot of pawn shops and liquor stores, saw stabbings and drive-bys and all the ugly stuff of the 90s, 80s that we all grew up with. But I feel my neighborhood was different than the rest of Orange County, or at least most of Orange County. I wouldn't say I knew we weren't rich, and I knew there were people that were less wealthy than my family, but I think it just is still kind of like a struggle for me to kind of think big or to be super ambitious. Also because I think there's like a notion about greed too, that comes with money, and that you're not supposed to have a lot, or if you get a lot, you're going to become greedy, you're going to ruin your life or something.
Exactly.
So I'm just trying to find, I think, the way to stay open to utilizing the talents that I have and doing the most that I can with them. And hopefully there's a fruit that is produced where I could, share with others and do God's will.
Right.
So for me in this section, there's a couple levels to talk about where you're supposed to identify. The great thing about this book too is you have like QR codes at this third page of the book. So you could kind of take a test and answer some questions and sort of see where you're at. And the different levels are struggling, steady, solid, surplus, and service. I would love to be at surplus or service, right?
I've been telling friends about this book. And the interesting piece that I'm just having an epiphany about, because I remember the first three, I can always tell people, either you struggling, steady, or solid. I don't ever go into surplus. And then I remember service. I gotta reflect on that.
I want to get to service. I want to
get to service, but can I remember surplus first? Right.
Oh,
but
yeah. Yes. So I came out as steady, which I think I am for the most part. I am self-employed. I am a commercial realtor. I'm also a real estate developer. So I do kind of all things real estate. I feel like I've done a great job of making other people money,
Yeah.
but really putting other people first and not myself. And I
Right.
think sometimes there's like a shame around, looking at your debt, looking
Mhm.
at your finances and those things. So it's just kind of, it's so much easier for me to make somebody else money and deal in some other third party situation
Mhm.
and just be like, okay, all my bills are still paid and they're coming in. But I really would like to do a better job of really understanding my own dashboard and
Mhm.
really identifying some goals for myself, so I can get to service. Because for me, service looks like owning properties where I can help foster kids.
Yeah.
That is, for me, the thing I would love to do. And I feel like God is calling me to do. So, anyways, we have both talked about too how it's, scary to be single and think about your retirement. And so,
Mhm.
like, it's just that
Yeah, it's
mindset.
that acronym. So a couple of years ago, I was having a conversation with some girlfriends of mine, and they introduced me to where it's like single income, no kids, dual income, no kids. And then one day, like as they were telling me, I'm like, single income, no kids. Like you're literally sinking. The
Right.
acronym SINK,
Oh,
SINK.
oh,
Right?
ew.
Right? Doesn't that? It's just like,
Ew. I mean, some people say
wow.
we're living life, right? I mean, me
Right.
and my
I mean,
dog
when
are
it
voting for
comes
Kamala
down to the
Harris.
freedom
Yes.
of, I don't necessarily have to worry about checking in with anyone. I can go where I want to go, do what I want to do. But at the end of the day, I recognize why
Oh,
marriages used to be business relationships because you're sharing the cost of living, right? Like everything is more expensive when
mhm,
you
mhm.
have no write-offs. You don't have
Through my business,
anybody
I
in
luckily
there.
for my business I do, and that's awesome. But yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that. And it would be really nice to have a great partner that,
Yeah.
we can share life with. But money is not the only reason why, but it sure would help.
Yeah.
I would like to retire in 13 years. So I'll be 65 in that time.
Mhm.
So I feel like that could be realistic, but I have to really work hard and focus.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I know real estate like I do because I feel like that is definitely the way I could make it happen.
Mhm.
I don't know too much about stocks, but I do feel like Pastor George touched on that in our seminar, and that was cool. Maybe I'll try to get into that at some point, but not right now, not for me.
Yeah.
But so did you have any takeaways from day one that you want to talk about?
You actually really hit everything. The one point though that I did kind of want to mention, and even just thinking broke is a state of mind. I didn't grow up recognizing that we were broke because I mean, I appreciate it from my family side and recognizing we had what we needed, right? There was always food on the table. I
Mhm.
always had clothes on my back. We did we did a lot of things, right? Now, did we do things that I wanted to do? No. But I felt
Mm.
like it was more along the lines of my dad would be like, well, when you get your own money, then you can
Mhm.
do your own things, right?
Mm.
So I always was just like, ooh, I can't wait till I get a job, right? But he did a really great job of hiding that. And
Mhm.
I think that, within our culture, I don't know, like in the Black community, but there's a few friends of mine who happen to be Black where they have that same story where it's like, I didn't know that we didn't have a lot of money, right? So
Mhm.
until you engage at an older age in conversations around money, it just
Mhm.
wasn't ever discussed.
Mm.
And I didn't ever see my dad really stressing or struggling or having those conversations around money until I was older.
Mm.
Now, hindsight bias, my dad did actually quit his job in my junior year of high school. And I think that that was what really helped me recognize um, just the sheer power of faith, right?
Mm.
Because even with him not working, we always had a place to live and it was in a pretty nice neighborhood. He always made sure that we lived in an environment where we felt safe,
Mm.
where there was community there. It just was always a nice space. But there are decisions that I think.
And he was your only parent, right?
So my mom and my dad are still living. They are divorced, but my mom lives in the Midwest, and I was raised by my dad. He was married, so I grew up in the two-parent household.
Here in
So
California or
in
somewhere?
California,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So it's just I find myself when it comes to finances in this really kind of gray, murky space because I can recognize what it looks like when you want to seem as though everything is okay.
For sure.
And on the back end, recognizing there are decisions, and that's kind of what this fast is teaching us, that there are decisions that you can make now in your 30s or 40s that can have impact on you when you're in your 70s. Because, now my dad is still working,
I'm in my 50s. So,
right? So it's
I
kind
feel
of
like,
like you gotta make those decisions. And
mhm.
I just look at my parents and they are still working. My dad, he wants to work because he's a vet. So
Mhm.
there are benefits and things that he kind of gets from being in the military that your average person wouldn't.
Right.
And keeping mobile and all of that helps him. But
Mhm.
there's conversations where we have had where it's like, over these years, at the time that we lived in California, we could have had multiple homes. I'm saying we, like it would have been my money, but it would have been his, right? Like
Mhm.
when you kind of think about generational wealth, what do you have like to kind of pass down?
Mhm.
So just kind of thinking about this and doing the assessment and having a feeling of steadiness.
Mhm.
I felt steady, and we were having this conversation before we recorded this, and then I took that assessment and it was like, nah, girl, you struggling. And I'm like, what? Oh my gosh,
I mean, the best
and I
part is
think
that you
it's
feel like you're not, I
right,
think that's
because
what you
I
feel
mean,
like
my
you're not.
bills are paid. My bills are paid. I pay my tithes. My car is paid for. I feel as though because of how I've lived my life, I have been able to make a decision, an intentional decision to leave my job, right?
Mm,
And not to be in a space where it's
that's
like, crap,
privilege
I
for
have,
sure.
right,
Yeah.
I've left my job and now what am I going to do? Like I feel rushed to jump into another position.
Mm.
So I most definitely agree. Broke is a state of mind. I don't necessarily think that I have the broke state of mind, but maybe
No.
I should so that I can make some more quicker decisions. Because people are sending me these job postings.
I
I
feel
want to
like
rest.
something I've been I don't know if it's just I think it's just procrastinating on is a
Mhm.
business plan or what's the number you're trying to get to. It's almost like when you're in a weight loss program. You're like, okay,
Right,
I know what I weigh and I
right,
know what I want to weigh. How am I
right,
going to get there?
right,
And I feel that's what needs to be done for everyone, right? We
right,
all need to kind of have that. I think some people are kind of born with a little bit more in their pocketbook, or they got some other assets they could draw on. They're not as uncomfortable. And some
hmm,
of us are coming from, negative. I share with you, I came from a single mother household. I knew my dad, but he wasn't really around so much, wasn't much of a provider. And I had a lot of siblings that there wasn't just enough for all of us. My mom's only child, but my dad, he had many. I'll just say that. So, I mean, my mom was vegetarian before it was a thing
hmm,
because vegetables were cheap. She's like, we're getting it full apple salad. Having meat in the house was a treat. It
hmm.
wasn't every day. We had rice, beans, spaghetti, salads. We grew cactus or nopales in the backyard. We had chicken, ducks.
Which is such the homesteading thing, right?
Yeah,
You were homesteading before, now it's become this trendy thing to homestead, which people have been doing that
since day zero. Yeah,
since
since BC.
people have been right. So it's I have this like philosophical, or I don't even know what to call it, where I look at consumerism and where we are today, and we have gotten into such a space of convenience that we've forgotten where we come from, right? There's this Landinkra symbol that I actually have tattooed. It's Sankofa, and it means kind of pulling from your past
Mm,
to enrich your future,
mm,
right? And every day when we have conversations about what people want to acquire and stuff like that, and I just kind of think about where we have come from and how it is so easily forgotten that we have what we need, right? Our ancestors have provided us with the skill set that we need to move forward. So, as you're kind of talking about what is that number, what is that goal, as I have started this fast, at least for me, I feel challenged because I'm like, what is enough? What is enough for me? What is my number?
Mhm.
Right? Because right now I'm living and I'm good. Is
Mhm.
this the type of lifestyle that I want? Or do I want from a consumerism space to be able to live a life where I'm jet setting and going here and going to this, fancy place? Or do I just really want to have a comfortable life where I don't have to worry about my bills? I live in an environment where I can easily see and be with my friends and family, right?
Mhm.
That's where I am right now.
Mhm. Um, I think for me, like I think I'm a steady. Maybe I'm. Is it steady or stable? Yeah, I'm steady. I'd like to move more towards solid. I just bought. I've owned a home before with my mom, and
Hmm.
now this is my first one on my own. On my own, finding loan docs on my own. It was pretty cool seeing, Christine Villegas, a single woman or unmarried woman, whatever they put on title. That got me to be proud. But I also feel okay. I'm not in a hurry to pay this house off,
Hmm.
but recognizing this house might be my mom's retirement place,
Yeah.
I think, okay, I got to get ready for another house for myself.
Right.
Where do I want to be? Am I ready for retirement in 13 years? How am I going to get this portfolio of properties for foster kids? So there's definitely, I'm feeling I need to level up, but I'm confident that I can. I
Yeah.
just got to be patient. But I think that I've spent my 20s and 30s for sure. And it's not that my parents weren't telling me to save or do whatever, but I think they also knew and I've been living on my own outside of the home pretty much since I was 17.
Yeah.
So there hasn't really been a time where I could be, oh, let me save, $1,000 a month here or there. So, I feel like I'm behind in that regard. There's some retirement, but definitely not, I think, where it should be for my age.
Yeah.
So there's different things where I feel you got to decide for yourself, sure, what's enough.
Right.
I'm not gonna curse myself and say I don't want to be like Bill Gates or somebody, but I'm not putting that pressure on myself either.
Right. So that's the part where it's the struggle in all of it. Because would I like to be a billionaire? Yeah.
I mean, but like like George said, like not prosperity isn't going to be for everyone,
Right.
right? It doesn't have to be. I think I'm cool with it. Not to put on you, but I think for me, I'm really cool. Let me just see what God has in store for me.
Yeah.
I pray I don't lose anything.
Right.
I'm sure we are going to lose, things along the way, money along the
Mhm.
way. But hopefully, I can make wise enough choices where it's like, okay, you're making good decisions. And I think as we build the relationship with God, and you put Him first, then I think things will go much easier. Hopefully,
Right.
hopefully,
Right. Right.
hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the decisions, even in kind of thinking about this, in these 5 levels, trying to level up, I'm like, well, I would be kind of leveling up in what you're saying, making sure that you're making some of these decisions to take care of your family. And while I do have that as a lingering, it's kind of lingering in the back of my mind. I also do recognize that we all each have a life that we've been blessed with and
Mhm.
that we have to make choices in order to be.
Right.
So part of me almost is resentful, but it's like,
Mm.
dude, I don't want to have to really worry about retirement spaces for my family, but then I also do have to worry about retirement spaces for my family, right? When
Mhm.
my mom and my dad stop working, what does that look like? And yeah, even engaging in those conversations with them
Mhm.
because they have agency,
Mhm.
right? They are actors and players in their own lives. And
Thank God. That's
yeah,
awesome.
so then it's just like what is your plan?
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I think just culturally, I mean, I don't know if it's an American thing or if it's a person of color thing, but it's just we
Mhm.
don't want to talk about death. They'll talk about life insurance.
Yes.
They'll talk about, oh, you want to talk about my burial plans? Whether you wish for me to die? Like, no, but we are going to.
Right.
Most likely, unless, he
Right.
comes back tomorrow, which could happen at this
It
point, it
it
feels
says
like.
no one will ever know. He will come in like a thief in the night. So
Mhm,
you gotta have a plan
mhm,
regardless, right?
mhm,
And then knowing we can't take it with us, that's okay. But also recognizing that you still, you don't want to burden. And that's the same for me. I have things in place because I don't want to burden other people because I've made a decision that I only want to impact me. I don't want it to impact other folks, right?
mhm.
Financially at least.
In closing, I love that it's the last sentence of this chapter this day. It says, regardless of which level you fall into, God can work with you when you are honest about your situation and you ask for help. And I
Mhm.
think just the asking for help is like asking for clarity, and asking for, just that direction. And I'm excited that we get some direction in this book.
Right. That's where whew, I'm continuing to pray to God. Please order my steps because the sister needs to know where she going.
Amen. All right. Day one. That's a wrap.